Hi there, welcome to English with Mr. G. I'm Mr. G and today I want to help you ask powerful questions using do and does. Also, I want to show you how to say short answers using do and does in the simple present. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get a new video every week with powerful lessons to learn English. Okay, let's begin. Today's topic is do and does asking questions. Do and does are auxiliaries that we use to make a question in the simple present. The question is incomplete if the word do or does is not present. So that's why it's so important that you use do and does when you ask questions in the simple present. Before taking a look at the questions, let's see the pronunciation of these words. The word do is pronounced do very clearly, do, and the other word is pronounced does. You have to make sure that you pronounce the word S at the end of the word does. So the pronunciation is do and does when you ask questions in the simple present. Okay, now, when do we use do and does? Well, we use do and does when we want to ask questions about routines or permanent situations. You know that a routine is something that we do on a daily basis many times. For example, take a shower, going to school, watch TV. Those are routines. We do this every day, some people, right? The other aspect when we use the auxiliary does is in permanent situations. A permanent situation is an activity that doesn't change so easily. For example, I live in San Francisco, she works for a restaurant, he likes pizza. These things won't change like from one day to the next. So we can think of this situation as permanent. There is when we use do and does to ask questions about. Okay, now let's take a look at questions with does for first. The auxiliary does is used with the following pronouns: he, she, and it. These are called also the third person pronoun. And we use does at the beginning of the question. Take a look at this question here. Does Kelly have a boyfriend? Does Kelly have a boyfriend? In these questions, we use does because Kelly is she. She is the third person, and we use does in this question. Take a look at this second question here. Does Robert work on Sundays? Does Robert work on Sundays? In this question, we use does because Robert is a third person and also is he. So we use does in the question. In this sentence, does the boss go to the market? Does the boss go to the market? Well, in this question, we use does because the boss is the pronoun it, is the impersonal pronoun, and we use does to make this question. So, whenever you want to ask a question using does, remember that you do it when you want to ask questions about he, she, or it. Now, let's take a look at questions with do. Do is an auxiliary that we use to ask questions in the simple present. We use do with the following pronouns. We use do with I, you, we, and they. This combination of pronouns and auxiliary is a rule. We don't change that. We always use do with these pronouns when we ask questions in the simple present. For example, in this question, do dogs fly? Do dogs fly? Interesting question, right? Well, we use do because dogs, it's plural. it's a plural noun and it refers to a group. It refers to they in the list of pronouns. So the question is, do dogs fly? The auxiliary is do because the subject is plural. Some students think that whenever we use animals in the question, we always use does. Well, we use does when we talk about just one animal, very specifically. But when we refer to a group, right, more than one, we use do because we are referring to a plural subject, in this case, dogs. Look at this question here. Do you need more time? Do you need more time? Interesting question as well. We use do because we are using the pronoun you. And the rule says that we use do and you. Do you need more time? Okay, in the next question, we can see that it says, do they live together? Do they live together? Once again, we use do because they refers to plural. And we use do and they. When we talk about they, right, it means people, object, or things, right? Everything in plural. People, objects, or things. Okay, so we use do with the pronouns I, you, we, and they when we ask questions in the simple present. Okay, now let's talk about short answers. Well, when we ask questions, we expect an answer, right? We want an answer from the person we are talking to. Well, if our question is with do or does, most likely the person is going to give you a short answer. For example, in this question, do dogs fly? I can ask you this question, do dogs fly? Well, I think you're going to say, no, they don't, right? No, they don't. Dogs don't fly. So the answer is no, they don't. When we say no, they don't, basically we are saying no, okay? It's a big no. But in English, we have to use a short answer to be very specific. So one more time, do dogs fly? No, they don't. In this sentence, does your friend speak German? One more time. Does your friend speak German? Yes, she does. I say yes, she does as a short answer. Yes, she does is a big yes. It means affirmative. Yes. You can say yes, but actually it's more recommendable to say the short answer like in the example. Yes, she does, for good quality English. Okay, I have one more example for you, and that is, do you work on Sundays? Do you work on Sundays? Okay, probably your answer is, no, I don't. All right? No, I don't is a big no, and it means that you don't work on Sundays. Okay. Sometimes when we use do and does, when we are learning to use do and does, we make mistakes, right? Students make mistakes, and that is okay because mistakes are good. We learn from mistakes. There is one mistake that is very common when students are learning to use do and does. And that mistake is not to say do and does in the question. For example, take a look at this question here. She like fish? She like fish? Well, it looks like a question, it sounds like a question, but the question is incomplete. Okay? In order to make this question complete, we have to say, does she like fish? It's very different, right? Sounds very different. Does she like fish? Okay? In the second example, the question says, you really want this? You really want this? Well, the question is incomplete, right? We need to use the auxiliary. So the correct question, or the question that is now complete, will be, do you really want this? Do you really want this? Okay, I have to say that sometimes when in very informal English, sometimes people don't say do and does. But my recommendation to you is say do and does when you ask questions in the simple present. Okay, now we are going to practice in 1 minute. In this practice, I'm going to show you a question that is incomplete. Take a moment and think about what auxiliary we can use to complete the question. Okay, if your answer is does, you are absolutely correct. We need the auxiliary does to complete this question. It makes sense because the subject, the town, is impersonal, is a city, is a place. So we use does. So the question is, does the town have a fire station? And the short answer is, yes, it does. Remember, we use it when we refer to impersonal things, to objects, places in general. Okay, very good. Now, I have a second question that we need to complete. Please take a moment and think about what auxiliary we can use. Do or does? If your answer is do, you are definitely correct. So the question is, do the boys go to the same school? The answer is no, they don't. We use do because the boys is a subject that is in plural. It refers to they, it represents they, so that means that we use do. Very good. All right, I have one more sentence for you. In this question, we need to complete it with do or does. Take a moment and think about it. All right, if your answer is does, you are absolutely correct. The question is, does Mrs. Miller live in an apartment? Yes, she does. So we use does because Mrs. Miller is she, is the third person, and therefore we use the auxiliary does. All right, very good. Okay, so do and does in the simple present. Remember, we use do and does when we talk about daily routines and permanent situations in the simple present. We use does with he, she, and it, and we use do with I, you, we, and they. All right, well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned a lot. Remember that you can subscribe to my channel to get a new video every week with powerful lessons to learn English. This is Mr. G, English with Mr. G. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.